What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys have enjoyed the previous content. I've got a couple videos lined up for you guys over the next couple days. But today, I just wanted to talk to you guys really quick. With the NBA, I'm going to be doing something similar to what I did for the NFL slate. Obviously, the NBA is a bit different. So what I've decided to do, and if you guys like it, let me know if you guys want to see it more. But Wednesday, I'm going to do a segment or a show or episode, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to have some guests here and there. But today, for the first episode, I figured I would just come in, let you guys get a feel for it, give me some suggestions down in the comments. But what I wanted to do was take two key matchups in the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference for games that week. Talk about some of the previous things we've seen, look forward to the week and what we think might happen. And as the weeks go by and games become more important, obviously into the playoffs, we'll be able to have more discussions about it. We're also going to talk about some of the rumors, trade deadline things, and just keep you up to date with all the news and kind of big stories that break as well. I picked Wednesday because it's a good middle of the day week. I think that I'll be able to get a good grasp of the early games and then look ahead, like I said, to the Wednesday night games. And maybe give you a preview for the rest of the week if you guys would like that. But like I said, this is the first kind of rendition of what I want to do for the NBA coverage. And so, yeah, with all that being said, let's dive right in. For the West matchup, I have two of them. The first one is the Kings and Warriors. For obvious reasons, I picked this because it's a rematch of last year's playoff series between these two teams. Obviously, we saw a great 7-game series between the Warriors and Kings. It was really electric to see some of the young guys that the Kings have in Fox and Sabonis. That pick and roll is lethal. They're really good. The whole team is really young, and it's good to see a Sacramento team that has struggled for so long really have a lot of hope and have something to look forward to each year. Now, as a Celtics fan, as you guys can see, I'm not a big fan of the Warriors. It's hard to not like Steph. I think I have a good reason to not like him. But yeah, I think even though it's early in the season, it'll be fun to, it's always fun to watch in any sport, a rematch of a playoff series, playoff game, whatever it may be, whatever sport you're talking about. And I always think that I always tend to root for the people or the team that lost the series. So I'm definitely pulling for the Kings. Even if they had won, I'd pull for the Kings. But I think it'll be really cool to see some of the additions, obviously with Chris Paul now on the Warriors. I think it'll be really cool to see the new updated roster version of this matchup and see if any of the teams can throw anything new at each other for another potential playoff matchup later on down the season. We'll see how each team's season goes. Moving on to the next one, I picked Pelicans Thunder. Pelicans are a team that we wonder and have a lot of questions about health-wise. Obviously, with Zion not being healthy for a lot of his games. But when he's on the court, he's an all-NBA player. I think we can all agree on that. The talent this guy has is awesome. Brandon Ingram is also another guy that has struggled with injuries and playing a lot. He plays more than Zion, but not a lot more than Zion. But he's obviously a really great talent. The team is just scrappy, the Pelicans team, and I really like them. I do enjoy watching how they play when they're fully healthy, obviously with CJ, Jose Alvarado. They're a good team. Unfortunately for them, they're in a very stacked Western Conference. Obviously, with James Harden going to the Clippers, something we'll talk about a little bit more later on in the video. But I think that for the Pelicans team, it's important to stay healthy and see where this team is at the end of the year, whether or not we see them as true contenders or maybe a piece or two away, because they do have some pretty good assets. Looking forward to draft picks and cap space. They've done a really good job of having a decent team, a pretty good team, I should say, and having some assets. The Thunder, on the other hand, I'm picked this game mostly because of SGA. I love the way this dude plays, man. He's smooth. He can hit you with one move. If that doesn't work, he'll go to the next one and the next one and the next one. And then when he runs out of moves, if that's even possible, he'll just pivot 3 or 4 times and then he gets his shot up and it just goes in. Like it's really fun to watch how smooth he is. Looks like he's not even trying. Those are the most fun basketball players to watch, where it just looks like it comes easy to him. SGA, Chet Holmgren, they have a lot of guys. Obviously, their GM has done very, very well. Obviously, they have stockpiled draft picks for the next, I don't know, 7 years. They've got like 23 first-round picks for the next 4 or 5 years. It's ridiculous. So this team, I think, could make the playoffs. I think they'd be another play-in team. And I think they might even win the play-in game. Whether or not they have to play 2 games for the play-in, I don't know. My prediction would be they would be a fringe 6-seed team. And being in a stacked Western Conference, I think that's saying something. I think SGA takes another leap. I think we're talking about him for a dark horse candidate for the MVP. I really am excited to watch this Thunder team grow. And I don't know why that is. I've always kind of pulled for them. I've always been a fan of Kevin Durant, so maybe that's why. But I was also watching them on League Pass yesterday. I forget who they were playing, but their uniforms are just so clean to me. I don't know if that's a part of the reason I pull for them, but I do enjoy watching the Thunder play basketball. So that's the reason I picked those 2 games for the Western Conference matchups. For the Eastern Conference matchup, I actually picked 3 games. Oh, no, I only picked 2. No, I picked 3. Sorry. The first one we'll talk about is Knicks Cavs for obvious reasons. Same reason why we picked the Kings Warriors. It's another rematch of the playoff matchup we saw from them. Cleveland didn't Cleveland didn't play to the best of their abilities, in my opinion, in that series. I do think Cleveland's a good team. I do think they have to figure out some stuff with that double big lineup. I keep referencing being a Celtics fan, but the double big lineup has its pros, but it also has its cons. I do think with the ability that Evan Mobley has, if he takes a step, it can work out a lot better than what the Celtics version did. Just because of the youth and he can shoot, Evan Mobley can shoot decently. Obviously, Jared Allen's not a shooter. He's there for lob dunks and block shots, very similar to the role that Robert Williams played in Boston. And then if Evan Mobley can kind of take his youth, maybe expand his shot range out to the mid-range at least, and give some of a sort of a look of what Al Horford can do. I do think that the ball handling from Mobley is better than Al Horford, so I think that you'll be able to see a little bit more out of that double big lineup as opposed to what the Celtics were running. But like I said, but besides that, the exact same reasons for why I picked Kings Warriors is the reason I picked Knicks Cavs. Both scrappy teams, both hard-nosed teams that are going to come at you they're going to dive at every loose ball. They're going to do whatever they can to win the game. And those type of matchups are really fun to watch. The next one I picked was the Bucks Raptors. Obviously, being the Bucks, you have to watch them early. You have to watch them often just because of the new piece of Damian Lillard. We don't know how that offense is going to work. Obviously, we assume the pick and roll with Giannis is going to be lethal. The second game for Damian Lillard as a Buck, he only scored 6 points, no points in the first half. So obviously there was a bit of a struggle. But the very same thing I'll talk about in the next game with the Celtics is when you drop a team, or when you drop a new player on a team, or in the Celtics case, a bunch of new players on a team, it takes a while to gel. The talent is there. Obviously, Damian Lillard is an all-time player, top 75 player. He's going to be okay. It's just a matter of how he looks on a new offensive scheme for his skills with Milwaukee. And so, and the very same thing could be said for Drew Holiday and Kristaps for the Celtics. But like I said, we'll stay on the Bucks-Raptors game. The Raptors, to me, are a team that's very frustrating because the talent is there. And also, you're always seeing reports about them potentially being sellers at the trade deadline, and then they end up buying at the trade deadline, and you're like, why did they do that? And they go on to lose 50% of the rest of the games of the season. So it's very frustrating. Somebody was supposed to be on this video. He knows who he was. He's a Raptors fan, and I'm sure he would tell you the same thing. The talent is there. Scotty Barnes is going to be a good player. I think he's shown some pretty good flashes in his, I think, is this his second year? I'm not quite sure, but he's shown flashes. He's going to be a good player in this league. But I think when you have Siakam and you have him and you have OG Anunoby and you have some of the guys that they have on their team, it shouldn't be as bad as it has been the past 2 years. And so we'll have to see how it is. Moving on to the Celtics Pacers. This is a game I'm excited for just because I'm a Celtics fan. You can call me biased, but we're going to be talking a lot about the Celtics this year, hopefully a lot longer than any other team. But the Celtics, man, you have Drew Holiday, you have Derek White, and you have Kristaps Porzingis. Now, the first game back in New York, Kristaps drops 30, comes back. Drew Holiday hasn't had the big offensive game you would look for, 20 points, 10 assists, a couple boards, but he's played his role very well. If you know anything about Celtics basketball, you know that the turnovers come in crucial times. They tend to let go of leads at crucial times against teams they shouldn't let go of leads to. And so I think the thing I'm most excited for about the Drew Holiday trade, and we'll get into Kristaps a bit later, but the thing I'm most excited for is having not that Marcus couldn't do this, because I loved Marcus, but a true floor general that knows what it takes to win a championship. That's something that's lacked on this roster, regardless of all of the accolades, regardless of all the trips to the Eastern Conference Finals, regardless all of the playoff runs and games and minutes and meaningful time and meaningful games for these players, especially Tatum and Brown. There's just that other level to knowing what it takes to win a championship, and Drew Holiday brings that to the table, and that's really something I'm looking forward to. It hasn't looked amazing yet from what I want it to be, but I do think with the lack of minutes in preseason for these guys to be able to play, that these first couple games have been preseason games in a sense, where they're trying to fill each other out and get a good rhythm for how they're playing on the court. That to be 3-0 in games that you're still filling each other out, and Tatum and Brown just dropped a combined 69 points. Like I said, first game of the season back in New York in the Garden, Kristaps goes for 30. You have to be happy, and you have to look forward to the growth and what the Celtics can be. Also, with Joe Mazzulla showing a bit of improvement early with the timeout situation, and just I was watching a game and I sent it in a group chat. I watched a inbounds play that actually worked for the Celtics. And if you're a Celtics fan or you watch a lot of Celtics basketball, that's awesome, because it's always just give the ball to Tatum, give the ball to Brown, and let them do their in-between step back, crossover, whatever, three-point shot. If it goes in, it goes in. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And we're trying to get back on defense. So to see play calls actually come to fruition and for them to be able to play, I think it's been amazing to watch. That's it for the games, the matchups. I will keep you guys updated on the, actually, I didn't even make predictions. I'll go through and make my predictions really quick for the Western Conference games. I'm going to pick the Pelicans to win and the Kings to win. For the East matchup, I'm going to go Bucks, Celtics, and Cavs. I think the Cavs are playing right now against the Knicks, and they're currently losing. I look for the Cavs to bounce back against the Knicks. I think they're playing a back-to-back. So those are the picks. I'll keep you guys updated in the community tab for the YouTube. Make sure you guys go look at that. Come engage with me on there. Also follow all my links in the description below. Join the Discord so we can talk more about this stuff. One other piece of news before I get off here, I wanted to let you guys know, or I'm sure you already know, I should say I wanted to talk to you guys about it, was obviously the James Harden trade. Harden goes to the Clippers for a multitude of players and picks coming back. The Clippers also got PJ Tucker, which is, I think, an underrated piece in this trade for the Clippers. I do like it for the Clippers. I think he brings a tenacity. He brings somebody who will play defense, somebody who doesn't need the ball in his hands. When you have a lineup of three ball-dominant players, I think it could be trouble. I'm not a fan of Harden. I've never really been a fan of Harden. I just don't like the way he conducts his business, but I'm sure he really doesn't care about some person's opinion on him anyway. But yeah, I just wanted to know your guys' thoughts, questions, concerns, what you look forward to in that situation in Los Angeles for the Clippers. Let me know what you guys think. Like I said, join the Discord. All the other things below are down in the description. Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. Make sure you hit those up. Give me a follow. I'd appreciate it so much. With all that being said, man, I appreciate you guys tuning in to another video. Hopefully this content is getting better and better. I hope my speaking is getting better and better, and you guys are, kind of staying in tune. But yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.